This book gave me an escape. I'm not gonna lie, I was like on my sofa and I was listening to it, and it just gave me the escape that I needed. Hey, maybe I'm looking for a fish man. And I was like, why am I forcing myself to read this book? Like, what is the purpose of me sitting down and forcing myself to finish this book? So I didn't finish it. I DNF'd it. At that time, I couldn't physically pick up a book and read it. No. I was just... So this video is late, so late, and I'm not gonna come on here and lie to you. I'm gonna be honest. I've tried to film this particular video about 4 to 5 times, and all of those times I filmed it, I looked over it and I was like, I don't like this, I don't like what I'm saying. I am going to be real with you. This is the reality of being a YouTuber, okay? Sometimes you film video more than once because you're taking them apart. I didn't like the things I was saying, I didn't like how I was explaining the books, so then I just like kept on putting it off. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't in the right headspace, okay? It's 2022 and I decided, like, my New Year's goals, resolution, whatever you want to call it, is I want to be more real on social media. I don't want to pretend like life is just all rainbows and roses. No, sometimes I'm going through some stuff and my mind is just not with it, and I think that was just the time. So here I am filming this video in February, and I'm not gonna release this video on like my daily release, which is Sunday. It's gonna be like a bonus video. I'm just honestly gonna sit down and just talk whatever comes out of my mouth is what you're gonna get. Okay, so bear with me. Some of these books, obviously, because this is a wrap up for December and January, the books that I read in December, some of them, listen, they are gone. Okay, I don't remember some of these things, but here we are. So grab yourselves a cup of tea, grab yourselves drink, whatever it is, and let me tell you some of the books that I read in December and January. Some of these books I absolutely loved. They're 5 stars, and some were questionable. Okay, questionable. Also, do you like my new mug? Because I'm in love with it. I love it so much. It says, I woke up like this. Ha! I woke up like this. Anyways, let's get started. So as usual, I've got my notes on my phone. I might even read you some of the things that I was saying when I was reading these books. But yeah, the first book that I read in December was called Anxiety, Panicking About Panic by Joshua Fletcher. This is a book that I picked up because, let me tell you, my anxiety was like, whee! Oh, it is like whee! You know, it's, you know, when you are in a situation where you're like, whoo, whoo, your mind is going like that. I picked up this book specifically because the author of the book suffered from anxiety attack and anxiety disorder, and I really enjoyed reading this book. I listened to it on Audible. I learned a lot about panic, a lot about anxiety specifically, and how you can cure it. So if you're looking for a book that talks about panic attacks, panic disorder, actually let me read you a little bit of this synopsis of what this book is about. So it says here, Anxiety, Panicking About Panic is a revolutionary self-help book for people who suffer from the various symptoms of anxiety. The book acts as an informative guide and draws from the experience of the author and counselor, Joshua Fletcher, who lived with anxiety disorder for years before successfully overcoming the condition. The book is tailored for people who are experiencing panic attacks, feeling abnormally anxious, ruminating about health, anticipating further panic attacks, and questioning why anxiety is present in the first place. Anxiety, Panicking About Panic provides quick, easy to access advice and practical strategies which aim to educate the reader to simplify their world of anxiety in order to successfully tackle it. So that is a bit about what this book is about. Was that English? About? Okay, that is the synopsis of what this book is about. Wow. Okay. So yeah, listen, I could do a separate video of me sitting down and talking about my anxiety. I haven't really gone to like the GP and been like, I have anxiety, but yeah, like there is a lot of things that I suffer from that I now know are a cause of anxiety, and nobody told me. And when I look back over on my life and everything else, I see it. I see it. But anyway, enough about that. This book I gave a 5 star. So if you are looking for a book that talks about panic attacks, anxiety, and things like that, definitely pick this book up. So the next book that I read was Heavy Crown by Sophia Luck. This is part of the Brutal Birthright series, and this was the final book in that series. This was between Sebastian and Yolana, and it's a mafia romance. It is enemies to lovers, kind of. Is it enemies? You know what? There was a lot of tropes in there. Obviously, if you've read this series, you know that Sebastian was the one that like we're all looking forward to, because he was like, we met him in the first book. We met him, something happened to him in the first book. So I couldn't wait to get to his book to find out how he was gonna, you know, find the love of his life, blah, blah, and things like that. And I was not disappointed, but a little bit disappointed. God. I was a little bit disappointed, but not too disappointed, because hey, I gave the book a 4 stars, so that's not bad. Just thought it was long. God, this book was long. It was like, come on, wrap it up already. Like, we don't need to stay here for that long. Do I even remember what this book was about? Let me be honest, okay? It was about Sebastian, who witnessed one night a lady being kidnapped. He saved this lady, not knowing that actually, this is not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. It's in the synopsis. That actually she's in a plan, and her dad is like the rival of because it's a mafia romance. It's the rival. So that's where the story begins, and that's their whole like their journey of them falling in love, and all of these things, explosive things happen. We see a different side to Sebastian. Yeah, it was a good book. It was a good book. I gave it 4 stars, as I said, and yeah. The next book that I read was A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn. Is that how you pronounce her name? Don't know. This book is... Okay, let me just read you the synopsis of this book. It says, how did you two meet? The question asked every couple, and the answer is usually some bubbly, love-dovey tale of being struck in the band by Cupid's arrow. My meet cute, well, not so meet cute, is slightly different. I was trolling a wealthy neighborhood in Beverly Hills, searching for someone to take me as their bride. You know, to make my arch nemesis jealous, who consequently just fired me. I was stomping around the block like some sort of gorgeous ogre, mumbling about a business deal gone wrong and attempting to figure his way out of it. And that's when we bumped into each other. There were no sparks, not even a hint of blossom love. Okay, it goes on. It goes on. This is one of those books that honestly, it's either for you or not for you. I'm not gonna lie. It is one of those books that you read and you think, this doesn't happen in real life. This is a bit ridiculous. But I was one of those people who enjoyed reading this book. I gave this book a 4 star. This book was inspired by Pretty Woman. The tropes in this book are fake dating, fake everything. Basically, everything is fake in this book, but somehow down the line, they find love. And I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed reading this book. When I was reading this book, it made me smile. And I did stay up late reading it. Weirdly enough, it was for me. I think I read it at a time where I was just looking for an escape. And I just found this world to be quite ridiculous. But I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, as I said. But I have seen some people who are like, what the hell is this? So it's not for everyone, but it was for me. I enjoyed it. The next book that I read was To Love Jason Thorne by Ella Maisy. Now, Ella Maisy wrote one of my favorite books, which is Marriage for One. I absolutely love that book, and this book did not disappoint, okay? It did not disappoint. This book is about Olive and Jason. It's a brother's best friend trope. So Olive and Jason have known each other since they were young. Since Olive saw Jason, she's always been in love with him. Something happens and Jason moves away to Hollywood, and he goes off and becomes a movie star. They lose contact for all of these years. Years later, Olive becomes an author. She writes a book and it gets picked up to be turned into a film. And guess who they cast in the film? I honestly enjoyed reading this book. I loved it so much because I love Friends to Lovers. It was honestly great. And Jason is one of my favorite book boyfriend. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed reading about him. So the next book that I read obviously was the follow-up of that one, To Hate Adam Connor. And that one was interesting. It was Enemies to Lovers. It was ridiculous. That book was also ridiculous. Oh my god. So this book will follow the best friend of Olive, who we meet in the first book, To Love Jason Thorne, and we meet Adam now in the book. So it's Enemies to Lovers. There is a lot of drama going on in there. I really did like this book, but for me, I prefer the first one more than the second one, which is crazy because a lot of other people prefer the second book. But I gave this one, the To Hate Adam Connor, a 4 stars. So it was a 4-star for me, but overall, I enjoyed all of them. And To Hate Adam Connor, there is a little person in this book. There is a 5-year-old, and you know how much I love children in books, especially when they're written well. And in this book, they were honestly written very the child in this book was written very well. And yeah, I loved it. I would recommend both of these books. So yeah, now we need to move on to what I read in January. So January was an interesting month. What happened? I don't even remember. So the first book that I read in January was The Knight and the Prince, and this is the part of the Entangled series. So there is 4 books in this series. Now, The Knight and the Prince is a book that I DNF'd. Okay, I DNF'd this book at 38%. I just couldn't relate to this couple. They were not believable to me. I didn't care. And I was like, why am I forcing myself to read this book? Like, what is the purpose of me sitting down and forcing myself to finish this book? So I didn't finish it. I DNF'd it. And that was that. Okay? So the next book that I read was the final book, Entangled series. Or did I explain what the Entangled series is? Basically, the Entangled series is 4 romance books of 4 different couples, but all of these couples, somehow, somewhere, they all have a past. Maybe the couples don't know each other, but there is someone who connects them. So it's all about like past, what is called the Entangled series. So like their past and their past sort of comes together in a way, if it makes sense. But anyway, I read the 4th book in the series, which is the final book in the series. And this is a book that I was looking forward to read. It is an age gap romance. Most of the Entangled series are a age gap romance trope, most of the books in there. And this one is about Max and Lizzie. So we met Max and Lizzie in book 1. And I was honestly excited to read about their story because I just wanted to see how they were gonna fall in love. I could honestly sit down and talk about this series individually because it's such a long series, and also it's a very hard series to explain. Let me read you the synopsis quickly. It says, Max, 6 years ago, I watched the woman I love marry another man. Lizzie O'Connell has always been nothing more than my ward's best friend until she wasn't, and I pushed her away and into the arms of another man. I tried to move on, but I couldn't forget her. 6 years later, she comes back home with her 5-year-old son after her divorce. This is my second chance to make things right, to make her mine. Only I am not the kind of a man she should fall for. I am someone she should stay far away from. And if I were a better man, I would let her go. If only I knew how. Lizzie. Maxwell Cade has always been represented everything good and perfect in this world. He's steady and solid, strong and secure. He's someone every little girl dreams of marrying when they grow up. Their very own Prince Charming. And for so long, he has been that man for me. Until he wasn't. 6 years ago of pain and distance have passed between us. I changed. I am no longer that faithful little girl with stars in her eyes. And even still, I want him. I crave him. I have never stopped loving him. I shouldn't fall for him again. I should stay away from him, if only I knew how. So that is what this book is about. It is the final book in the series. And yeah, did I say what stars I gave this book? I gave this book a 4-star. I enjoyed it. I didn't give it a 5-star because it was long. Okay, it was long. It says here, it says here, long. But there is so many good things that I loved about this book. I love the fact that Lizzie was a playwright. As some of you probably know, I studied drama and theatre, so I'm very much into the theatre world, and I love reading books that talk about theatre because I don't see that enough. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And it says here, I love that we got to say goodbye to all of the characters from the series, and then I put a little love heart next to the notes that I made, so that was cute. So I really did enjoy this book, and it was a nice close to the series. The next book that I read, I think at this point I took some time out from reading because I got ill. You know, I got ill with the flu that came into our lives and made us lock ourselves up. That flu. So I don't think I read anything that much during this time. Anyways, it says here I read Ringmaster. What was this book about? Okay, friends. I told you this video is going to be all over the place, so bear with me. It says, let me read you the synopsis of this book. It says, Cole has the circus in his blood. As ringmaster and owner of traveling circus, his world is the arena, the spectacle, and the heat of the spotlight. He looks out for his wretched troop of performers as if they are his family, because after tragedy strikes, they are. Raya's been battered and bruised by life and is ready to give up. Then Cole finds her, and she runs away to join traveling circus and becomes the horseback acrobat star she always dreamed of being. What ultimately calls to her is Cole's dangerous knife-throwing act and the thrill of putting her life in his hands. Soon, she doesn't want to be just part of his act. Cole's doing his best to resist the fragile 18-year-old. He's the ringmaster, but he's been wondering who's running rings around who. It is an age gap romance. It is a sad book, actually, to be quite honest. It's not like a happy. I mean, there is a happy ending, and in the middle is happy, but the beginning is quite heavy. There is a lot of trigger warnings in there, so do look up trigger warnings if you do decide to read this book. I gave this book a 4 stars, I believe. Yes, I did. It was nice actually to read a book that is like about circus and about traveling England. Yeah, so that was something different. Did I say this book is an age gap romance and there is a lot of things in there? But yeah, I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. The next book that I read was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. And I listened to this book on Audible because at that time I couldn't physically pick up a book and read it. No. I was just on my sofa lying down and feeling sorry for myself. And this book gave me an escape. I'm not gonna lie, I was like on my sofa and I was listening to it, and it just gave me the escape that I needed. I think I read this book at the perfect time, and it's really amazing how 2 different characters, like they are so different, how they manage to like fall in love and find themselves. So this book is about Paper and Brendan. And Paper is a social media influencer, but one night she gets up to no good. She does something, and because of that, her stepfather decides to send her back to her biological dad, sort of like fish village place, don't know, but anyway, she ends up there and she ends up meeting Brandon, who is a fishman, like he fishes. Okay, I don't even know what the terms are. Okay, so Pepper moves there with her sister. The next book is going to be about the sister, and I cannot wait for that book. Okay, they go into this pub. She meets this man who is the opposite of her, but somehow they find You know, they find love, they find themselves, and that is what this book is about. I really enjoyed this book. I gave this book a 5 stars. I understand the hype of this book. The tropes in these books are grumpy and sunshine, social media influence. There is grief in this book, so there is trigger warnings, so do look up those trigger warnings. But honestly, and I put here, Brendan is one of my favorite book boyfriends. Hey, maybe I'm looking for a fish man. Okay, no. But yeah, so that was what this book was about. And I love Pepper's character. She's funny. I love the sisters' relationship between Paper and Hannah. And oh my God, I cannot wait for Hannah's story as well. Because, listen, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I understood the hype. Okay, I got the hype. The next book that I read in the month of January was... Oh, hold on. I've got the physical copy here. Just hold on. I'm back. The next book that I read was this one right here, Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I bought into the hype and I finally read Ted and Miles. I have a reading vlog for this particular book. So if you want to know my full thoughts, if you want to see me read this book, please do go and check out the vlog. I would include it down below, and I'll also find out how to leave cards somewhere. Yeah, I gave this book a 3 stars, I believe. I changed it to 3 stars. So I gave it a 3 star. If you want to know more, as I said, please go and watch the vlog and find out why. Not on the hype with everybody else that gave it 5 stars. Yeah, gave it 3 stars. Go watch the vlog and find out why. I believe that we are coming up to the final book now. Yeah, we are coming up to the final book. So the final book that I read in the month of January is called The Happiest Man on Earth by Eddie Jekyll. This book, I need a cup of tea. This book is so sad. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. Okay, it's not funny. I was just crying listening to this book, I'm not gonna lie. So let me read you the synopsis of this book. Holocaust survivor Eddie Jekyll made a vow to smile every day and believe he was the happiest man on earth. In his inspiring memoir, he paid tribute to those who were lost by telling his story and sharing his wisdom. Life can be beautiful if you make it beautiful. It is up to you. Eddie Jekyll has always considered himself a German first, a Jewish second. He was proud of his country, but all of that changed in November 1938. When he was beaten, arrested, and taken to a concentration camp. Over the next 7 years, Eddie faced unimaginable horrors every day, first in the Brecht ward, then in Auschwitz as a deathmatch. He lost family, friends, his country. The Happiest Man on Earth is powerful, heartbreaking, and utterly hopeful memoir of how happiness can be found even in the darkest of time. Honestly, this book has trigger warnings. Look up trigger warnings before you read it, but I honestly do think this book is worth a read. It has such beautiful life lessons that you read it and you're crying, but at the same time you're learning so much. And yeah, this book is a 5 star. Obviously, it's a 5 star. Yeah, so those were all the books. Okay, as I said, this video is all over the place. I know I did not explain the books, but bear with me, I'll get better at that. For the next reading wrap up, which hopefully will be on time, and it will be for February. I'm not reading that much, to be fair, so it's not gonna be that many books, but hopefully it will be on time. I should probably film it next week. But anyways, friends, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you have picked out some books that you like and you're gonna read. Also, leave me a comment down below. Let's have a chat about books, about life, whatever it may be. Give this your video a like so that I know you liked it. And also, if you're new, please don't forget to subscribe because it massively helps out my channel. And I'll see you all in my next video. Stay safe, lots of love. Mwah! Bye!